Rightio. Kia ora koutou and welcome to Carterton Conversations. I'm your Mayor Steve Cretney and I'm joined today by our Deputy Mayor Grace Ayling. So welcome Grace.
Thank you, Steve.
Carterton Conversations is a new initiative which our comms team have come up with and discussed with our previous council. We thought it would be a great idea to have a bit of a podcast and update you all on different community initiatives that come out of council and I guess resolutions and so forth that come out of our council meetings. So I'll move on to Grace. Grace.
Yes, Steve.
I love your swag, your pregnancy swag you got going on.
Yes,
and the community might not be aware that Grace is very close to giving birth.
Yes, I am. When he says close to, he means any minute now. I did warn Steve this morning already that with my last baby, I gave birth 10 days early, and that is where we are today. So if this video stops halfway through, you'll know why. But yes, I am looking forward to having number 3 join our family in the next little few days.
Yeah, I should have actually worn my jandals and my swimming trunks just in case the water's bright, but that's okay. Look, in today's episode, it's our first, and the conversation will be interesting, I guess. We're going to be talking about some decisions made at our April council meeting, and we'll touch on a few things happening in the community at the moment. We'll get to know Grace a little bit more. We'll avoid how she got in the position she's in. And we'll also chat with a CDC staffer about their role and some of the internal workings of council. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I think what I'm excited about is this podcast being a way for the community to get a bit behind the scenes of what we do in council and hear the actual conversations that go on. The meetings themselves, we know that not many people watch our 3-hour council meetings and look at all the ins and outs of the conversations, but actually there's so much thinking and that goes on behind the scenes, and I think this will be a longer format type thing where you can hear where we're coming from, and as time goes on it'll be great to have some feedback from the community and we can incorporate that into this podcast so we get a real dialogue going with our community and how we can best be representing them.
Absolutely, and part of that will be inviting different people from out in the community to come and be guests on our podcast. So we'll be seeking your interest as we move on with this show. So first up, it was our draft annual plan that we approved at our last council meeting. And something great that came out of that was a rates percentage of 3.9%, which compared to our year 3 of our long-term plan, which was planned at, I think, 5.8%. Yeah. I think council has done extremely well, and especially considering the ongoing cost of living crisis and the new fuel crisis that we're going through at the moment and the price of fuel and everything. If we can try and keep any rises to a minimum, it's going to help everyone across the community. So
yeah, definitely. I think it's been really encouraging just seeing from my perspective, seeing the shift in the last few years. I've been on council now for this is going into my second training, so 4th year. Just seeing the shift in our council and the way that we're constantly just looking at, okay, where can we cut costs? How can we make this council function to the standard that the community needs, but none of the frivolous stuff. And so we look at that annual increase, and it's a number that I'm quite happy to be supporting. So that's really exciting to see where we're getting to as a council. And one of the things that happened at our council meeting, we were actually joined by our youth councillors, which I think was it's always an entertaining meeting it's one of those things that when you have a room full of 18 and 19-year-olds, you realise you're not 18 or 19 anymore. And they come in with energy and funny questions. And, yeah, so we had a really interesting time with them, filled with lots of pizza. You know, we have to bribe them to come to council. We do have to bribe them with a lot of pizza. But, yeah, it was great to have their input and to see their thoughts on our council meeting. Once a year they join us for the full meeting, and they often will have feedback council meeting to council meeting on a specific item of the agenda that they find interesting. One of the things that they were talking about was where do the youth hang out in Carterton. I wonder if you had any thoughts on that, Steve. It was an angle I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about. Where do the teenagers go that's somewhere safe, they're not getting in trouble?
So through spring and summer, the youth often hang out at the swimming pool, which being
Great
council
segue.
council provide it at no cost to those wanting to enjoy it, to our youth and so families and so forth. It encourages them to head along there and make use of that free facility. But in the past, they've normally congregated in Carrington Park, and which has created a few issues with vandalism and so forth going on. So I do understand where the youth council are coming from, and Josie leading that team, just in where could they possibly meet, and a community centre was raised. And years ago we used to have the municipal hall, and the event centre was kind of built to be a bit of a community hub, but as you know, it's mainly focused on events, and the foyer out the front is not really a place where you want a large group of youth, especially adjacent to the library, where you enjoy it being a little bit quieter. So I understand where they're coming from, and I think that's something that we should look at moving into our long-term plan discussions as to whether Carterton does need a community hub for our youth, and which could incorporate the Historical Society, for example. It could incorporate the RSA. So there are many organisations that could fit under or within a community centre. Yeah.
And you mentioned in Carrington Park, obviously we've had a big announcement in the last little while about Carrington Park. You might want to share a bit about that.
Which is fantastic. This started probably 2.5 years ago with Kapai Carterton, and they were promised, I'll use the word promise, by DIA funding of around 3.5 million towards an upgrade of Carrington Park. So the community was brought together with various groups, representatives of various groups and schools, to think pie in the sky, and an agency was brought in to help design or bring together everyone's ideas, and that was done over many, many weeks, and some concept plans were developed, and when it came out to pricing it came back at around
8 million or something, wasn't it?
It was around that figure. Which
bit scary.
It was, and council agreed to progress the park, but the community had to fundraise stage 1 and stage 2, and then council would fund stage 3, which was an input of around $2 million of council. So the community had to raise around 6, and the disappointing thing that occurred was the DIA funding of 3.5 million disappeared, and then it became a council responsibility if we wanted it to go ahead. So it was put on hold for a little while, and then it was brought back to us with a new reduced concept and approximate pricing, and council agreed to fund around 2.1 million, which then came back to us that we hadn't included the skate park within that, and the skate park users were expected to, well, they suggested they would raise around 200,000 towards the skate park, which had a costing of, I think, 750,000. So all in all, it came back to us and we approved the funding. It wasn't unanimous. There were those for and against, but the numbers were there for an increased budget of 2.9 million. And so we're hoping by the beginning of summer, we will have an upgraded Carrington Park, which will be amazing for the community. So.
Yeah. And one of the cool things, I mean, council is such a minefield, and when you're not into the detailed budgets and stuff, it all seems very confusing. But one of the benefits of this park upgrade is the fact that this isn't something that is coming at a cost in the rates this year or anything like that. So it's money that's been set aside over like 20 years in this development contributions pot of money that has built up over these years, and we can only spend it on parks and reserves. And so it seemed like a no-brainer to make sure that our main centrepiece of town was something that we could be proud of. And as a mum of nearly 3, I spend a heck of a lot of time at the park, so I'm looking forward to seeing the new park in summertime.
As does one of our other councillors, Lou Newman, who has 4 young children, and they absolutely love Carrington Park as well, and they are looking forward to the upgrade being completed as well. So it is very positive. I think it will be an amazing draw card for Carterton, and we look forward to the new skate park alongside the actual playground equipment being upgraded. So
I hope it makes it the town a destination for those families driving through the Wairarapa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alongside that, we have our economic development, which the council is looking to create a new economic development committee. And we voted on who's going to be leading that on behalf of council, and it is going to be Councillor Newman.
Yep.
And she will be supported by Councillor Casey and Councillor
Lawrence.
Councillor Lawrence?
Yeah. Steve and Lou.
Yeah. And we think that's a great selection. We have Steve Lawrence, who owns Elmo's, and he has seen High Street stay practically the same for a considerable period of time, and he's recognised that there needs to be some kind of economic development group to actually push forward and encourage businesses to spend money on their frontages, just to tidy up town and make it more attractive, and hopefully draw in new business as well. So
it's just one of those things that we hear about, and I mean, we all look at Carterton's Facebook notice book page and we see the comments, and one of the most common things is make the town look prettier, and that's tricky because council doesn't own these private businesses. We can't just go there and force them to paint, but we're hoping that setting up this committee will be a bit of a tool that creates momentum in the town where things start to go on the rise. And we've got people involved who are particularly passionate around our council table, and now we're looking to the community saying, if this is something that you're interested in, we're looking for expressions of interest. There's a info@cdc.gov.nz. Flick your details through if it's something that you're interested in. We want to hear your great ideas for our town, because we know it could do with a spruce up. And this is the intention of this committee, is that it's not just going to be a talk fest, because I hate talk fests, and getting nowhere fast is frustrating. And so I think our council has a real appetite for some momentum to happen in our town, and we've made this commitment to the park, and now we're hoping that flows through into the business community, that our high street and our businesses start to really pick up and thrive, and that people decide to come and settle down in Carterton and make this home.
Yeah, and it ties in with the upgrade to Carrington Park as well, to help potentially help draw families to move into Carterton and set up a business here as well. And I think the momentum is already happening, and this committee will just help push that forward. And you've got to be encouraged by shops or business owners like Chopsticks who have demolished their shop and they are proposing to have a new shop built by November, I think it is, this year. So that's encouraging in itself, that there's going to be a new premise built on High Street, which will hopefully encourage other businesses that are closely located to Chopsticks to actually dress up their frontages a little bit. So alongside within that economic development, there's going to be a look at the Wainawa Industrial Park as well, and seeing how we can encourage businesses to move to or set up in Wainawa. And I think we have some key stakeholders within that, which are iwi, who are considering investing in the new Wainawa water storage project, which is actually on hold at the moment. So if we can get investment, council will hopefully push go on it. It'll still have to be approved around the council table, but I see external investment as being a extremely positive, a tick for our council to hopefully move forward with it. So.
Yeah, we talk about Wainawa quite often as being the jewel in our crown, and this untapped potential out there for the industrial space and the businesses that we can imagine could come flocking. And in council we have these quite informative meetings regularly about civil defence and emergency preparedness and all this kind of thing, and we're all well aware of the state of our country with earthquakes and tsunami risks and all this kind of thing, and we know that over the other side of the hill they're running out of industrial land fast, and we've got Petone and Gracefield, that whole area where it's not in the best location really, and so we've got beautiful prime real estate that we could be utilising far better. And so if council invests in that water, hopefully the businesses will come a-flocking.
It can certainly encourage, having that water, it can certainly encourage a business like Fonterra or a meat processing plant. There's already talk of a seed processing plant being set up there.
Yeah.
But it's in a perfect location with the rail hub being there, and also the solar farm that will be constructed over in East Taratahi to help power new businesses in Wainawa. So it's certainly a positive thing that was identified in the future growth strategy. The Wairarapa and Wainawa was identified as the industrial growth area for the Wellington region, with around 695 hectares available of land. So there's plenty of room for expansion there. So that's very positive, and I hope that we can get the Wainawa water storage project across the line, and so will our ex-mayor, Ron Mark.
Yes, championing from the sidelines now.
Yeah, he is championing it for us. In the community, so we have any number of things going on in the community, and one thing that I'm really grateful for is an upgrade to the Carrington Park toilet block. And we receive a lot of feedback just for the dour look of the toilet block and how unattractive it is, and sadly it does receive vandalism on a regular basis.
Super regular basis. It's really crazy.
Which is disappointing, and it's often put on social media, and it's these questions around the cleaning of it and everything, and it is cleaned on a daily basis, and equipment is replaced sometimes on a daily basis, and the cost to council is it's horrendous really, and there needs to be a lot more respect shown to council assets in that regard. But on a positive note, you may have already seen the new wrap going on the toilet block at the moment, which is really giving it a fantastic lift. And once the wrap's completed, they will start work on the inside of the toilet block just to tidy up some of the areas that have been damaged by vandals and so forth.
Yeah, I'm glad that the next stage is happening, because the clash between that blue and the old, it wasn't looking the prettiest for the last couple of weeks, but there's exciting things coming for the toilets in Carterton. So that's something that we hear a lot about as well.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it will also tie in with the new upgrade to the Carrington Park playground.
Yeah.
It's all starting to come together, and I really look forward to both of those projects being completed.
Yeah. And we've just had Easter weekend. The balloons, what a awesome thing to have in the Wairarapa every year. It's such an exciting thing. Like, just even looking out your window at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you go, oh, it's casual balloons flying past the house. It's very special. And the park was packed on
Friday morning.
Friday morning, yeah.
It was. I went to the official gathering on the Thursday night between the pilots and the crew, and I had a little bit of a speech, and I said how fantastic it is to have you back in the Wairarapa, because so many people walk around now and they've got their head down and they're busy looking at their phones.
Yeah.
And I said how the balloons just get everyone to lift their heads and they're looking up, and it's
true.
It's just all the colours on a bright blue day is just magical. So it's one thing that I know that their funding is ending this year, and it's something that council will need to look at, is how we support that event so that it continue on, because Friday, or even over the whole 4 days, it's probably the first year they've held the festival in a long time that they were able to put the balloons up.
Yeah, and it's disappointing when you watch them start to inflate and then back down again.
When
but the wind was okay this year.
It was.
It was great. Yeah.
So, High Street South water renewal. We understand how it can just cause a bit of pain for those living directly adjacent to where the road closures occur and the water main, where the water main is being installed. Council actually brought forward some funding which was proposed for, I think, year 4 of our long-term plan. We brought it forward to try and align with NZTA wanting to continue with their upgrade of State Highway 2. So we have seen the benefit of what they've done at the very southern end of town, and the road is looking magnificent. So working in with them and getting this underground infrastructure in so that we're not digging the road up afterwards just makes perfect sense. So
yeah, nothing more frustrating for a community than seeing work that's just been done pulled up because the timelines haven't been organised between central government and local government. So thankfully we got the tick there, and things have all happened in the order that they should.
Yeah, and we are very thankful for the community to for putting up with that short-term pain for that long-term gain, and helping council get some of their infrastructure sorted.
Yep.
The composting trial is moving along very well. We're at the stage of confirming the tests, and we're waiting for them to come through, because that will prove whether we can continue with the or move on from the trial and actually
roll this out.
Very much. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that testing goes, because I think it is a hugely positive project for not just Carterton but potentially for the whole Wairarapa, where we could become the composting district, I guess. But if it generates great revenue for our ratepayers, I think we should be moving forward with it. So
yeah, just to go into the fun details of it for just 1 second, because Steve very kindly put me on the waste minimisation committee for the Wellington region. So now I'm part of this bigger picture thinking about waste for the whole region. And it's quite concerning the fact that across our region, people literally bag up the solid matter from our wastewater treatment plants, and it just gets stored and goes to the tip, basically, which seems like the worst possible outcome for what humans create. And our council are doing this amazing process where we're turning that solid waste into compost that can be then on-sold as the plan. So quite future thinking, and it just seems like, smart way of dealing with a stinky problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, this has taken a small portion of our sludge out of one of our ponds, and we have 3 ponds which are in need of clearing out, desludging. So the outcome of this trial will, it could really change fortunes for how we deal with our sludge, because putting it in bags, as you say, Grace, is just it's unacceptable, really, but it's the only way a lot of councils deal with it.
Yeah.
So if we can help our neighbours out in that regard, then I'm all for it.
Yeah. Wastewater
intake upgrade. This used to be called the Headworks project, but
There's some immature members of staff who can't handle that, and so it's been changed.
It has. So it's now called the Wastewater Intake Upgrade. And we accepted a tender, or management accepted a tender by SEEP Construction, and the project has a total cost of around 5.2 million, which was part of our LTP Year 3 projects. So they'll be replacing just a couple of items that I can remember is the grip channel, I think it is, and the lift pump station and scum tank and pumps. So I know there's a number of other things that are getting upgraded at the same time, but it will certainly help our wastewater treatment plant with removing the amount of sediment that was going into our ponds and causing the sludge to build up, so if we can remove it before it goes in the ponds, we're saving a cost later on, although at some point we will still have to desludge, but at least it will be a
lesser quantity.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that project's expected to be completed before July 2027.
Yeah, which is important because that's when the water services entity is going to be kicking off.
It will be.
So we're getting those things all aligned while it's still our asset, and then we'll be handing over a beautiful new intake wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah. So while we're talking about our wastewater, the Lincoln Road wastewater upgrade was completed not that long ago, and the reason I've raised it is because of the significant difference that project has made in reducing stormwater infiltrating our network and then causing a build-up down at the wastewater treatment plant, and it's already suggested that there's a 18% reduction in wastewater volumes, which is incredible, really, that just one length of wastewater pipe and carton down Lincoln Road had that much ingress of stormwater. So historically, the discharge from the area was around 800,000 cubic metres, and total discharge to River and Land was 774,000 in 2023-24. In 24-25, that figure reduced to 656,000 cubic metres. So that's a considerable drop, which just means more efficiency for our wastewater treatment plant. And when the new intake goes in, we are really looking to the future for Carterton residents, and just to continue supporting our investment in infrastructure, upgrading our infrastructure.
Might be worth talking about Flat Point as well and the investment we made there recently.
Yeah, which council decided to do off their own back, really, because of issues out at Flat Point with flooding and storms, and I think the investment was around 350k, I think it was, and we, during the storm in February, the work out there was found to be extremely positive in reducing any stormwater build-up around.
Yeah, there was no inundation to properties, we were told, so it did the job.
It did. So hopefully residents out at Flat Point are thankful for council.
Yeah. We were flooded with feedback.
Doing that. And I believe that they're looking at doing a little bit more protective work out there. So I look forward to seeing even more positive feedback from the community out there. Councillor interview segment.
Oh, that's me.
Woo-hoo! Here we go. Oh, this is going to be scary. I don't know very much about Grace's background, and I'm a little bit worried about where this might go. So
I'm always up for a yarn.
So those who are unaware, this is Grace's second term on council, and from my perspective, Grace and I, although didn't agree all the time in the last triennium, we were very outspoken around the council table and generally asked the majority of the questions of management. But I, for one, really appreciated Grace's input around the table and her pertinent questions alongside mine, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to put to council that Grace was our deputy mayor. Just because although we don't agree all the time, which I think is a really good thing, Grace and I both ask a lot of questions on behalf of our community, and I really respect Grace for that. So, Grace, there's a couple of questions here I'm curious about. I didn't write these questions, but we can certainly add some to it, or you can just add to them. What brought you to local government?
So I grew up in Paiutua, so a small town, very similar to, well, much smaller than Carterton really, but similar to Carterton. And I was always really interested in politics. I was this weird 7-year-old who, on a school trip, went to Parliament and sat in question time. And I just remember falling in love in question time, thinking this was the coolest place ever, and I wanted to be a politician. And I went back that year to school, and we had speeches, and I got up in front of the whole school and gave a speech about when I was going to be the Prime Minister. And so that was always my plan from when I was a little kid, that I wanted to work in politics. And I didn't really know what that meant, so I went to uni and studied politics because I thought that seems like an obvious path. A few years later, I got a job in Parliament as a staffer, and I actually worked for the local MP here in the Wairarapa, Alistair Scott, so I was in his office for 3 years in Parliament. And I've always been interested in who makes decisions and how the heck do they get the responsibility to make these decisions, and what are they doing, and how could I be involved. And so I always wanted to work in politics. After spending 3 years in the beehive, I thought, I don't know about central government, but maybe council might be my area of interest. And so I bought a house out in Carterton 7 years ago now with my husband. And when we moved here, we didn't do a lot of background research. I'd driven through Carterton my whole life, going between Paiutua and Wellington, and I thought, oh yeah, it's a town of the Wairarapa, it looks nice. Settled in Carterton, didn't realise that we were 5% of the population demographic. There's no 20-year-olds in Carterton, it seemed at the time. I'm going, okay, we haven't come to the most obvious place for 20-year-olds, but we wanted to buy a house and we wanted to have that small town community. And standing for council came about a few years in. I was working, as it's been a frequent conversation at the council table, I was working for the Taxpayers Union, which I think was a bit of a dirty word around our table, because the Taxpayers Union published this annual survey where it said that Carterton Council had the highest rates. and I was working at the Taxpayers Union. I was like, hang on, that's where I live. And so that really got me keen to come and see what was happening over here, and stood for council, stirred the pot a bit, asked a bunch of questions. And it was like Steve said, when I first started in council, I was there and I just kept putting up my hand and asking question after question, and got a bit of a reputation for that, I think. And one day Steve messaged me on Facebook and he said, I really like your questions. He said, you keep going and you manage to ask quite pointed questions and you're not too rude about it, or something along those lines. I was like, oh, thanks, that's a nice vote of confidence. And so we got along from the start, which was great. And yeah, like Steve said, we've voted on opposite sides of many decisions, so we're certainly not aligned in all of our thinking, but I think we're both there for the same reason, which is to get good outcomes for Carterton. And we might not always agree on what the best outcome is, but I think we both come at it with the same heart and intention. So yeah, it's been cool, and I've been deputy now for 6 months, and as Steve asked me to be his deputy, I was like, well, I've got to tell you something, Steve. And in our little, having our little coffee, I said, 9 months I'm going to be having a baby. You don't have to pick me as your deputy. Find someone else. And he's like, nope, doesn't change anything. I want to work with you. And so here we are at the 9 month point, and we'll see how the next few weeks go. But it's been a cool time on council so far.
It has been, and as I say, I really appreciated your input. I just going back to something you mentioned, Alistair Scott's, like his PA, and it's funny you mentioned that you were in Parliament. I think you probably spent more time in Parliament than Alistair Scott did.
I think I might have, wasn't it?
I think he's
it's a lonely office sometimes.
I think he spent a lot of time in Tauranga from memory, but. You purchased a home in Carterton, and raising your family in Carterton.
Yep.
What, alongside being the deputy mayor, what does a normal week look like for you, and what are the parts that people don't usually see?
So I spent a lot of time at the Carrington Park pushing kids on swings, and it's quite funny. My son, who is 4, is very, like, when I go off to council, they're like, bye mum, have fun being the deputy mayor. And they know that I'm involved with council decisions and stuff, and they know that the park was one of the things that we were talking about recently, and I've shown my son the plans, and he's not so happy because there's no flying fox in the new plan. And he said, well, mum, can you go talk to the mayor, go talk to Steve and tell him that we need the flying fox at our house because the new park doesn't have one. So we'll have to have a talk about that, I think, Steve. So yeah, I spend a lot of time just, I'm full-time mum. This is my main gig. My husband and I also own a vineyard in Masterton. So when we're not thinking about politics, we're thinking about harvesting and pruning and employing a few different people down at our vineyard. So it's been a busy old time. We've had harvest this last week, so that's another part of life that keeps me busy.
Which even 9 months pregnant,
yes.
You've been out helping to remove grapes off the vines.
I have been, and that was a bad idea. Yep, we were meant to record this podcast last week, but I did my back in because I was too keen to be seen to be a strong, independent woman who could do harvest at 9 months pregnant, but it turned out my back disagreed. So, yeah, that was...
You're here today, though. So,
made it.
Yeah. Can you think offhand what's probably one of the most rewarding things so far for you on council in your 4 years so far?
Most rewarding. There's been lots of small things along the way that have felt like accomplishments. I think one of the things that I'm most pleased with is the way that our council has changed in the last year or so. I just think the first 3 years on council was a bit of a slog. I think everyone who reads newspapers saw that our council wasn't always aligned in our thinking, and I think we've got a team around our table now who are just really working and gelling really nicely together. There's just such a good vibe in the room when we have our meetings, and there's laughter and banter and, jibes about my expanding waistline. But like that wouldn't have gone down well last Trey and Emma. It would have been like war zone. So it's really nice to see. And I think a credit to Steve. Like I think he's leading the team in a way that is making us all want to pull in together. And we've got like a split table. We've got half female, half male table. it's a really good dynamic, and I think I'm really proud of the way that our council is running now, which is one of the things that I'm probably most pleased with.
Yeah, I can only support you in that, and thank you for your comment. It's probably a big thanks out to the community for putting the team around me that they have, and I agree with the comment that council has changed from the last triennium, and I personally believe it's because of the change around the table.
Yeah.
We are working a lot better for the community together. And while we don't all agree, we have great discussion and great debate around the table leading to these discussions and or decisions. And it comes down to being respectful of how each other presents their side of when we're going through recommendations and decisions, and understanding that when they don't get approval for what they or the side they are voting for, that they're accepting and moving forward of how the vote goes.
That's democracy.
And it's a big change from the last triennium, and I do feel for our previous mayor Ron and what he had to go through in the last triennium, and I certainly did not want to be going through that. And again, I'm just thankful for the whole team and the way that they're behaving around the table, and we're all so respectful of each other.
Yeah.
It's really great.
And it's just like one of the things that I think is so cool about Carterton compared to the rest of the country is the turnout that we get for our elections. Like, we have a good number of people stand for candidates, and then we have a huge number of our population who actually vote. Whereas you look at most of New Zealand and barely anyone turns up, and as someone who's a political nerd, it frustrates the heck out of me that people just don't get involved and don't care. They go, oh, it doesn't matter who we put in there, it'll all be the same. And that's just not the case. It does have a tangible difference. If you put in good people around the table who are all there for the right reasons and are willing to ask all good questions, it makes a difference.
Yeah, and we're certainly seeing that now with...
solid annual plan.
Yeah, and I mean, that's coming from management as well. The papers that we're receiving in our various agendas and everything are they're fantastic. They help with us, leading us into discussion.
Yep.
And then we come out the other side with how we want to move forward. So it's very, very positive. So another question: Do you get stopped often out in the community, or?
No, so that was one of the things that made me not think I wanted to stand for. I thought, I'm not going to be able to walk into the supermarket and, scody clothes. I'll have to dress up every time I go anywhere. But for the most part, people haven't, come up and berated me about things. I've often noted it's the older demographic in Carterton who will say something or smile, because other ones who focus on what's happening around the council table, so they might know my name or recognise me. But I feel a bit more conspicuous as I increase in size that, you're the councillor who's pregnant. Yeah, that's me. So, yes, but I did this last triennium too, so I'm okay. I'll keep going.
I know for me, being born here and knowing so many people, I get a lot of jibes, and I don't receive a lot of phone calls. I'm not asking for suddenly
and his number is on the website, so if you want
to receive a whole lot more, but I receive a lot of jibes from people I know. Just the fact that I am mayor and my
shiny chains,
my background, and it's great. I love it. I can't stand being called His Worship. I'm not into all that fanciful stuff. I just want to get in there and help lead a great team to make good decisions on behalf of the community. So it's a really interesting position that I find myself in. But I did put my hand up.
You did. So, I'll ask you some hairy questions next time.
I look forward to it. Probably the last one I want to ask, Grace, is just what do you love most about Carterton?
Carterton, one first thing is most obvious to me is Carterton's beautiful. I just think every time I'm driving down the road and driving between the towns, I just think, what an amazing place to get to live. It's just spectacular. And I've been lucky enough to travel a bit overseas, And when I come back to Carterton, I'm like, yes, this is where I want to base my life. It's something really special. Small town New Zealand is ideal, and I think the more crazy the world gets, the more thankful I am to be living here in Carterton. And the people are really friendly. I remember when I first moved from living in Wellington, coming to the new world, and everyone being like, oh, after you in the supermarket. And I thought, wow, everyone's talking to me and, getting out of my way, and are very polite and friendly. Like in Wellington, you're just ramming your trolleys into each other. So, it's a friendly, lovely, beautiful place to live, I think.
You weren't pregnant back then, that's why they
No, that's true. Now they're going, oh, pregnant lady out of the way. That'll be the difference.
Yeah, being born here, I'm a little bit parochial about Carterton, but I also think we've had some amazing change in town just over the recent years, and some of my favourite places to go are still here. Urla, for example, I just think Urla is an incredible new vineyard or cafe type restaurant place with an amazing outlook over a beautiful pond, and I hope more people go and enjoy that. They've just got their new menu out, and it looks amazing. But one of my favourite places to go is called Mount Dick, which is up Kaipatangata, up where our waterworks are, and you can drive right up to the top of the track, and there's Lions Lookout up there, but just the view out over the whole Wairarapa and over Carterton specifically is just amazing.
Yep.
So I suggest to everyone friends of ours who come from other parts of the country to visit us, I will happily drive them up there just to show them the view overlooking Carterton, because it's one of my favourite spots. We are expecting a
special guest
to come in. Hey, Solitaire.
Welcome to the hot seat.
Hello, Mayor Cretney. Get in here.
Please come and have a seat. Solitaire's one of our CDC staffers. Has an incredible following across the Wairarapa because of her amazing regulatory services department. So welcome, Solitaire.
Thank you, Mayor Cretney.
Solitaire, just tell us a little bit about what you actually do, and a little bit of what you do outside of council.
That's going to get fun.
That is definitely going to get fun. So I'm the group manager of planning and regulatory here. So my role and the team's role is really all about making sure that our district's safe, development, building, animal control, environmental health, it all happens in a way that's well planned and aligned with what our community wants. So that's our main focus. It's a very small team, but we do say small and mighty. Very approachable team. We have a good sense of humour, and we just really try our best for the district. Outside of work, I'm a little bit mad on showing my little miniature smooth dachshunds at dog shows around the country, and also training for competitive rock and roll competitions and then line dancing for fun.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of your line dancing up the show, and you are very, very good, I've got to say. Lots of practice, I'm guessing.
Lots of practice, and just a really awesome little private dance studio here in Carterton called the Dance Shed Studio.
That's cool.
It's been going for 20 years, so
wow.
Little gem people don't know about.
Have you thought of your dachshunds, dachshunds? Dachshund, when you mention dachshunds, I'm thinking of a car. Have you thought of, I'm thinking of a TV show in the UK, it's, what's it called? Come on, help me out here.
Yeah, we'll just watch
people come on and they bring their dogs on and they try and...
Dancing
like America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent.
That's it, Britain's Got
Talent. Climbs on your back and runs around,
Yeah, have you thought of your dachshund doing something like that in line with your line dancing? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever tried to get a dachshund to come to you when they're called?
Okay.
We have actually attempted it and tried it with a whippet.
That's
and it
fun.
did look quite funny.
Nice.
So just getting back to your role on council, I must say, having been in the construction industry for around 35 years, I can honestly say that Carterton is the best council to deal with when it comes to building consenting, having inspectors come out onto site and everything, and it hasn't changed. And I used to draw up plans and so forth, and I must say dealing with our neighbours can be so difficult. And I'm not sure if that's changed or not, because I haven't drawn plans for a couple of years now. So I can honestly say just thank you on behalf of the community and the construction sector for how you and your team operate. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that we get the most feedback on is our consents department and Solitaire's team and how they work so well. And we know that she's a highly sought after asset, so we're holding her tight here in Carterton because we don't want to share her with anyone else, because we've got the team that works really well here. So you're not going anywhere, Solly.
I agree. We've got a few questions here. Just let us know if you don't want to answer them.
And then we'll push in more.
Yeah.
Is there anything you're working on right now which matters a lot for Carterton?
Probably, because there's such a huge focus on the regulatory and planning processes and just trying to keep pace with the growth. Like, we have had astronomical growth here in our district, which is amazing, but you know, we want to support the new housing and development, but we also really recognise that Carterton is quite unique and we want to protect what people do value about that district. So it's very trying to do it in that managed way. We're also working really hard to try and streamline our processes and just navigate the multitude of legislation that's been thrown at us right now.
Yeah.
And all of that flows through into your work on the district plan. Yep. And that is coming to an end. Where are we sitting with that at the moment?
We're at the appeal phase, so what we'll be doing starting in May, we're looking at getting into some mediation with some of the appellants, federated farmers, heavy haulage, just to really try and work out where any common ground is still, or where there is still disagreement, because the least amount of matters we can take to a court is the better outcome for everybody.
Yeah.
So try and nuance it down to what's really important. So we'll be doing quite a bit of work on just some statements and position statements and things in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
It's been crazy for someone who joined council 4 years ago. Like, this process has been going on that whole time. It's not a short piece of work, this combined district plan, and Solly's been right in there through the thick and thin of it. So it's nearly there.
Nearly there.
Yeah.
It is, and I think there's across the whole plan, I think it's very fair. The approach is very fair on how developers can work within the plan and so forth. So
yeah,
hopefully we can see a bit more development in Carterton coming out of the new district plan.
be great.
A common misconception about council work in your area?
I would say that a common misconception, just generally in the public, is that regulatory teams are there to say no.
Meanies.
In reality, our job is actually about helping people understand the rules early and let's find the workable solutions. We want to make sure people's projects can happen. We don't go in there with this, let's find a way to prevent you doing what you want to do. I think if people realise that the work's collaborative, we want to ensure those good outcomes and not block them. So come and talk to us. We're actually really friendly.
Yeah.
And we will spend the time to work through, and we will identify potential issues up front and, how can we work through these solutions? We can't design your plans for you, but we can guide you in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that people just have such fear around. You've got this formal application form on a website that you have to submit to council, and you're like, I've got to deal with council, I've got to make all the boxes tick correctly, and it's just like, pick up the phone and call someone from the team and have a conversation, and they will help you through the process before you go through the scary application part and pay all the money. You can actually figure out a lot of that information beforehand, so it takes away some of that apprehension. I have to deal with council.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Grace. I highly recommend any developer who's proposing to come in and do a subdivision in Carterton that they come and meet with Sol and her team to discuss what they might be proposing.
Yeah.
I think we've covered at the next couple. I mean, behind the scenes work, we've covered that. So here's just some quick rapid fire questions. What's your favourite place in Carterton?
I was going to say the Hiranui or Rangi room in the middle of a council meeting, but that would be joking probably. But actually, no, jokes aside, I do have to say it's pretty nice as an officer and one of the managers to be sitting in those council meetings. You've got a great team around you, and they're asking all the right questions, and you know, it's great to be able to present those reports, know that they've been read, and that the questions coming out of them are well thought of. But back to the actual question, not my little joke question. I would probably have to say Mount Dirk. You get up the top of that hill and you look out and you see the entire Wairarapa Valley. You know, I'm from Featherston, so you know, being able to go anywhere and you can also see all the way down to Lake Wairarapa is pretty special. I think the views up there are just outstanding.
There you go. You two are twins. He just did the same thing.
Yeah, and it's something that I'd actually like to pursue more, and I've never raised it with council, but I would like to raise the conversation whether we can approach DOC and actually acquire Mount Dick and make it an actual feature of Carterton in some way. So it's a subject that I will raise.
Bring that up in the LTP, Steve.
Will raise at some point. I'm not going to call it a pet project because I think everyone should go up there and enjoy the view.
That whole concept of Carterton being the gateway to the mountains.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Best coffee in town. Do you even drink coffee?
I do drink coffee. I actually think we're pretty spoilt for choice, actually.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a range of cafes, Kainga, Almo's, Aunt Ginger's, Wild Oats, Clearville. And I have to say, I don't think I've had a bad coffee in town.
There you go.
I can agree, and I'll even throw in Cafe LA there. Della and Dallas, well, Della, I'll say. She makes very good coffee as well. So
Excellent. I'll have to try it next time I'm there for a pie.
Whereas Grace,
Earl Grey all the way.
Earl Grey, a cup of tea lady.
Cup of tea lady. But after 3 kids, I might be wanting coffee. Who knows?
I can just imagine you sitting at home with baby in your lap with a nice pot of Earl Grey and a plate of biscuits. One local event that you never miss.
Oh, it's got to be Daffodil Festival. Yeah.
It is fantastic. Our community
just brings that town alive.
Yeah. I hope that, because I don't think the steam train's been over in the last couple of years. Yeah. I hope they can bring the steam train back over because that normally brings, I think, is it 500 people on the train? So I think we've missed the steam train. So yeah, but it's an incredible event, and I'm thankful to our team and community organisations that get in behind that. It's brilliant. So I'll agree with you there. It's one not to be missed.
Yeah.
Do you actually go out and pick some daffodils at Middle Run?
I did, even though we were working, because we just volunteer our time as staff here just to help on the day. And towards the end of the day, jumped on the bus and went out to Middle Run and came back with a few daffodils. So it was lovely to be able to experience that part of it as well.
Nice.
Yeah. One of the fun things about Solitaire that people may not know is that she's served on both sides of this organisation. She was a councillor down in South Y a few years ago.
Just a few.
And now is on the staff side. So I think it's such a valuable insight that she has when she has been on both sides of that table, because it can be a bit of a divide between the staff, management and the councillors and our competing interests at times. And I think Solly can bridge that divide and understand where we're coming from, and when we're asking the hard questions, Solly never flinches because she knows that she would have been the one asking the hard questions not so long ago.
Yeah, how long did you spend on South Wairarapa District Council?
3 terms.
9 years.
Not insignificant.
Not insignificant.
Yeah, very cool.
A hidden gem apart from Mount Dick?
Oh, hidden gem. I would say Friday night dances at Club Carterton.
Wow.
It's pretty damn cool. Every second Friday you've got like Lance Naismith, or you have Wayne Heath will play up in the bar. And you know, you can get 40 odd people down on the lower dance floor, line dancing, rock and roll, some ballroom. It's
so cool.
It's just really cool to have a venue that's big enough to be able to do that. And I just think a lot of people don't realise it's there and it happens.
Yeah, and they do do great meals there as well, and it's a very reasonable membership as well. So a bit of a plug for Club Carterton.
Yeah. So come down on a Friday night if people want to dance, and
there you go.
Even just watch the dancing is pretty cool for people.
It is. I highly recommend coming down and watching Soul for for half an hour or so.
And she might even bring her dogs, and they'll do something.
And what's something you'd tell a visitor to do here? And you can't say drive up Mount Dick or go to Club Carterton line dancing.
No, I can't. I'd probably say enjoy the dark sky. Go to Sky Safari or Stonehenge at night. You know, we're in the middle of this amazing dark sky reserve, and it's really beginning to take off. But I think those two places are just fantastic.
Yeah.
Agree. I think there's a huge opportunity for the Wairarapa with the dark sky side of things, and I'm not sure when Marston might fit into it, so it's a whole Wairarapa thing, but the Lonely Planet Award and so forth, I just think big opportunities there.
Yeah.
And it's something that when you've been born and bred in the Wairarapa, we probably don't appreciate it as much as what an international visitor or somebody that lives in a city that's never seen.
Total pollution constantly. Yeah.
You know, we're kind of used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have some incredible photographers in the Wairarapa too who have taken some amazing shots of the Milky Way in the Wairarapa. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sol, for coming in and sharing with us. And we know that you're a busy lady in your team, so thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'll head back to my meeting.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Sol.
We've survived our first podcast.
We have, Grace. We've got a couple of things we want to just finish off with, and that's we want to thank everyone out in the community who took part in our survey. Approximately 750 responses to it, and the comms team are actually analysing all that data at the moment, and will present a report to us that we can go through and
get all that feedback.
Absolutely. And
that'll all be channeled into the decisions we're making in our long-term plan, and it's all valuable feedback, so it's great to have the community engaged like that.
It is. So grateful to the comms team for the way they conducted that survey. Also, if you want to keep up with things, we have the CDC Facebook page, and we have the website where the Facebook page is generally, there's something new on there every day. So if you want to keep updated with what might be happening in the community, or whether there's an urgent water shutdown or road closure or something like that, then just jump onto the Facebook page and have a look, or you can tick the whatever it is.
Receive updates.
Yeah, and you'll receive an update immediately. Also,
and service requests.
Yep, service requests. Well, do you want to talk about service requests? Have you made any?
I haven't recently, no. But that's the best place. If you've got something that you've noted in town that needs attention, flick it through to our service requests. There's this nice little portal. It comes straight through. It all gets reported onto our council, so we see all the service requests that come through. It's just a really smart way to make sure that nothing gets missed. So fire it through there. It's much better than just texting the mayor, because he might not remember. So get it into a service request.
The mayor has been known to forget the odd appointment, and I won't mention one, but I actually forgot one last week while we were so engrossed in our climate change workshop. I was meant to go and present some certificates over at the courthouse, and I forgot. So my apologies to Chris for forgetting to do that, and live on camera. The other way is we have regular email newsletters that come out, and there's always monthly updates in the Carterton Crier across a few pages in there. So other than that, I think we're done with our first podcast. So thanks for joining us, and catch us for the next one. Cheers.
Thank you.